Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Okay, Pete, welcome back. Another day, another episode.
Hi, Ethan.
So, our last episode, we talked about there is a lull, or a dead period, if you will, in cinemas where not a lot is being released right now. And the same with all the streaming services that we're on. It's a little bit of a drudge to try to find some good new original content now, right?
Yeah. There's definitely a lull at the moment. I found myself either rewatching old series or, just keeping an eye out on Netflix for, new stand-up specials or new TV series. But nothing's really sticking out at the moment.
Yeah. So I was doing the same. I was on HBO Max, and one of the things I saw coming out is something that I thought was called Showtime, but I see it's actually called Winning Time: The Rise of the Los Angeles Lakers Dynasty. So I'm not sure when that's coming out, but that's something I'm very excited by, actually.
Is this, by any chance, a dramatization, or is it like a real documentary?
I don't know. It's not a documentary. It is, like a dramatization based on a true
John
story.
C. Reilly playing Bus, right? Yeah. The only reason I know of this is because of the controversy around the show.
What's the controversy?
So I think Adam McKay is behind the show. As the showrunner or the writer or the director. Yeah. And his longtime partner has always been Will Ferrell. And
yes.
Will Ferrell took umbrage to the fact that he cast John C. Reilly to play the Lakers president instead of Will Ferrell.
Indeed.
So, and
Indeed.
I believe
You're
that actually
right.
led to them breaking up their partnership. Because of that.
I heard something similar. Similar.
So I don't know anything about the show. I just remember seeing hearing the controversy around it. That's it.
Generally, are you into sports movies and sports dramatizations like this?
I love them. I would go so far as to say they're probably my second or third favorite genre of movie entertainment.
Whoa. What's number one and number two, by the way? Adventure.
Heist movies?
Heist. I should have known that. And Nicolas Cage.
Gone in 60 Seconds, by far greatest heist movie ever. So again, heist movies, and then I would say something along the lines of superhero movies.
Yep.
And I suspect that once the superhero movies have gone through the comic stories that I read as a kid, that will quickly fall off the list.
Yeah. It used to be that there were a lot of sports movies. Most of them were biopics. Not a lot of Mighty Ducks, Major League, Longest Yard, Bend It Like Beckham. All those were obviously original stories. But it's more of the biopics that I recall. Like every year there seemed to be a really good, biopic. And now that seems to be, there's a few exceptions recently, but mostly that seems to have gone away just because they can't be sequels. And unless it's a really compelling story, it's hard to get a mainstream audience, really interested in it.
I agree with you that there has been a lack of biopics in the movie industry. I don't know if that's got to do with the lack of interest, or maybe they just aren't that many people left that they want to talk about.
Well, also,
or want to show.
Maybe that's true, but also, a lot of the movies. I mean, something like $1 Million Baby, right, with Clint Eastwood, right, Hilary Swank. Mm-hmm. That was an original story. That's not based on a true story. Right. But, some of the other movies, like, let's say The Fighter, right? About Mickey Ward with Mark Wahlberg, Christian Bale, Amy Adams was in that. Some of the things like Miracle, Rudy, those were all underdog stories. And underdog stories are usually very underreported. But now in kind of a society with social media, it's really hard to be an underdog for very long, right? Like almost everything is now somehow publicized and scrutinized. And I feel like there's just fewer unknowns or underdogs, than there were long back when there wasn't, kind of this 24/7 news cycle.
Yeah. Because now everything that is an underdog story becomes a quote unquote viral sensation.
Yes.
Right? And then everybody and their mother hears about it. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised. There are times where even my own mother's like, oh, did you hear about this? Because she saw it on whatever, right?
Yeah. And generally, as a rule of thumb, once the mothers know, it's no longer a secret, right?
Right, exactly. It is no longer an underdog story at that point, right?
When my mom knows someone in sports, automatically it's mainstream, beyond mainstream. Yeah. But also, okay, so how should we break this down? Should we break this down into genre? Should we break this down into sport? Should we break it down into decades? Like individuals, teams?
Why don't we take it a step back? I think between the two of us, I would think that you are a bigger sports fan than I am. I think we're both good sports fans, but I think you probably know a little bit more than me. So in that regard, why don't we start by me asking you, what makes a good sports movie?
I that's a very good question. And I think it has to be something extremely emotional. It just can't be an underdog. It can't be someone who overcomes odds. There has to be an additional obstacle, whether it's, family or some type of, like overcoming substance abuse, some type of, for example, like 42 about Jackie Robinson. He was the first African American, to break the color barrier in baseball. There needs to be an additional obstacle. It can't just be this person or this team was not as good in sports as this other person or team. So I think there needs to be a very emotional obstacle that the person or team overcomes, and it has to just draw in all this emotion, because this thing was overcome.
And in that regard, does it matter who wins?
I don't think it matters who wins so much. It's less about, one of the great sports movies where they didn't win was Friday Night Lights. I don't know if you remember Friday Night Lights. Before it became a TV show,
right?
It was a movie. And before it was a movie, it was a book about high school football in America, in Texas, and not a small team, but comparatively, they were the underdogs. They had a new coach who was doing things differently. And they actually, in kind of the championship game in the state of Texas, they lost in the final. And they were the underdog. They were supposed to lose. So they didn't actually win. It didn't have this traditional storybook ending. But it was still a very compelling story because of all the obstacles that the individuals on that team overcame. The coach who was doubted, the quarterback who was considered, maybe too small or, not talented enough, a running back who was playing in his father's shadow, and on and on and on. It doesn't necessarily matter what is the outcome. I think it's more the journey that's so important.
All right. I think that's a very good take on that. So now let's get back to what you were saying. How do you want to break this down? Do you want to look at this on a sport basis or a genre basis not genre, or a subgenre basis?
So, I think we should also take two, we can break this down into lots of different ways, but there are good stories and then there are very good movies, right? And sometimes the best movie is not necessarily the best story, and sometimes the best story is not necessarily the best movie.
Oh, okay. I like
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm having a hard time thinking about it, but thinking of one right now on the spot, but that's a really good point.
I was thinking of The Blind Side with Sandra Bullock.
Oh, okay, great.
I think that's a great movie. I don't think the story is so amazing. I mean, all my respect to all the people, but I mean, the story is that there was, a kid, who was pretty talented at something. He had some family issues. He was taken in by another family, and they supported him, and he became an amazing American football player.
Right.
I don't think that, that story is so amazing. I think maybe not to that level, but there's a lot of examples of things like that. I think it's just the movie where Sandra Bullock, I don't know if she won an Academy Award, if she was nominated for an Academy Award, but she was exceptional in that movie. And I think that movie was a great movie, whereas the story wasn't really so great on its own. Similar, Moneyball, Brad Pitt, right? He played an executive for a Major League Baseball team. Philip Seymour Hoffman was in that too, by the way. So was Robin Wright, and so was Jonah Hill. Wow, that's a cast.
Robin Wright played who?
I don't know.
Maybe his ex-wife?
Maybe
his ex-wife.
Maybe.
I can't remember.
Robin Wright's amazing. So Moneyball, I think, is, again, a very good movie. But again, the story itself isn't really what's so great about it. It's just watching Brad Pitt and, the one-liners of Brad Pitt and Brad Pitt, romping around. That makes that movie so great. But if Brad Pitt would have played, a lawyer working on, a court brief, or an investment banker working on an acquisition, the story is basically the same, Someone worked really, really hard on something and they found a very innovative way to be successful in their job. But I think that the movie was so good just because, Brad Pitt had a lot of very memorable lines, whether or not those lines were historically accurate or not. He just brought to life a story that was kind of meh, and he made it, very alive on screen.
I think there was also one additional element of that movie was that it was about a group of misfits, right?
Yeah.
Like those players were all effectively damaged, quote unquote. So whether you had the pitcher who throws sidearm, whether you have the catcher who's blown out his knee and has to move to first base, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you're right. Whereas, let's take a different example, shift gears. All the Rocky movies, Sylvester Stallone, he's visionary. Those movies aren't great, The lighting's not great. Some of the lines are a little bit cheesy,
Utter blasphemy.
Yeah.
Utter blasphemy.
But the stories are amazing, right? There, I think the story is amazing, but the movie is not particularly great. But you love it just because the story is so wonderful,
So tell me, okay, so you've mentioned a couple of different sports, a different couple of movies. So if you had to pick right now, what would you consider your favorite sports movie?
Oh, that is a super good question. I'd probably say I really liked Blindside. I really liked The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. I thought that was a very, very good movie. I also liked $1 Million Baby. I thought that was a super, super good movie. If we're looking backwards a little bit more, then I think we could probably choose things like I liked Creed. I thought Creed was a very good sequel to, the Rocky series.
Very good way of refreshing the Rocky movies.
Very, very good. Field of Dreams, I don't think is actually a sports movie, but again, that's a very good movie. Same with Jerry Maguire. I don't think Jerry Maguire is really a sports movie. That's a drama about a sports agent. But if you're going to link it to, if you want to consider that a sports movie, I thought Jerry Maguire, Tom Cruise, that's an exceptional movie.
When we talked about this off screen, one of the things I thought about was in terms of movies or in terms of sports movies, I think like you, my preference has always been for towards movies that are based on true stories.
Yep.
Right? So instantly for me, I think one of my favorite all-time sports movies would be something like Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington.
Oh, yeah. Very good movie.
Right? based on a true story,
Yeah.
based about the integration of African Americans with
Yeah.
white players in football.
Yep.
Really, and then the hardships that went along with that.
Yep.
So I think that's very good. But I think maybe this is my personality type. The more I thought about it, the more I realized that I think most of my favorite movies in sports are also, they lean towards comedy, and that sports are integral to the story, but not necessarily what the story is about. If that makes
Bull
sense.
Durham, right?
No, well, Bull Durham for one,
Yeah.
but like for example, if I think of my favorite golf movie, I'm not thinking Tin Cup.
Caddyshack.
I'm thinking Happy Gilmore.
Oh.
I'm not even thinking Caddyshack. I'm thinking Happy Gilmore. Although Caddyshack also very good,
Wow.
right?
Tim, that's interesting because Kevin Costner was in Tin Cup, which means Kevin
That's right.
Costner was in Tin Cup, Bull Durham, and Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams,
And he was
Yeah,
in one
Draft Day.
Draft Day, and there was one other one where he was an aging pitcher for the Detroit Tigers and threw a no-hitter in his last game. Do you remember this?
Oh my God, you're joking! No, I do not.
Oh,
But that pitch alone, pun intended, makes me want to watch that movie.
the name of that movie is For the Love of the Game, where
Okay.
he is a Major League Baseball pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, and it's his last game before he retires. And while he's pitching, he is reliving like all the trials and tribulations of his career. Like when he was a young man, he was first drafted to Detroit, he signed his first contract, got his first sports car, and then he was injured midway through his career. When he met his wife, how his wife supported him, he went through problems with his wife, blah, 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 blah. And all this time, he's pitching like one of his best games ever.
It reminds me a little bit of that not great but still funny baseball movie with Bernie Mac, Mr. 3000.
Oh, Mr. 3000.
Or 3000, whatever it was called.
Not a bad movie, actually. Actually, a very good idea for a movie.
Yeah. I thought that was a very fun way of bringing it, an aging
Yes.
actor to play into these
Yes.
movies, right? Because you always see
Yes.
all these movies, you see these great actors playing
Yes.
sports stars, but like no 40-year-old actor can show up and pretend to be a 20-year-old superstar in sports, right? It's not physically possible.
Yep.
With all the de-aging possible, it's still not possible.
Yep. I totally agree.
So I thought that was a fun way to do that.
Yep.
But yeah, so for example, golf, Happy Gilmore for me. Basketball, the classic, white men can't jump.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Space Jam. Or
Oh,
Basketball Diaries. Or for
Basketball Diaries,
yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
Or there's also the documentary long back. What was it called? Hoop Dreams.
Oh my God, Hoop Dreams.
Yeah.
I
And
totally forgot about that until you just mentioned
Adam
it.
Sandler, Uncut Diamond or Uncut Gems,
Uncut Gems?
right? That's a basketball movie, kind of.
Ish. I mean, it's got Kevin Garnett in it.
Yeah. And there's a new one with Adam Sandler coming out as well.
Is there?
Oh, yeah. It's called...
I love The Sandman.
When did he become such a big basketball fan?
He's always been a big basketball fan. He's always wearing an oversized like hockey
Yeah.
shirt and basketball shorts.
Yeah. You'll edit this. It's called Hustle.
Okay.
Adam Sandler played on Netflix. It's coming out. Oh, it says February 24th. Didn't see it.
That's okay.
Adam Sandler plays a washed-up basketball scout who believes he has just found the next basketball star. Blah-de-blah-de-blah.
All right.
Produced by LeBron James.
Oh, well, there you go. That
Mhm.
automatically gives it basketball cred, doesn't it?
Check. I've seen it's called Hustle. It's supposed to be on Netflix. I saw the trailer or the teaser, and it's super good. I have to say, I thought Uncut Gems was a little bit, like it was a good story.
I wouldn't qualify that as a sports movie in any case, but yes.
Not a sports movie. Yeah, you're right. But I thought Sandler in this new Hustle.
Is this
movie,
a comedy
Sandler-
or what are we looking at here?
No, it looks like a serious drama.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Where the clip that I saw, Sandler's like kind of like shouting at the guy saying, I'm going to paraphrase here. Yeah. So I'll avoid colorful metaphors. Everyone is the same height. Everyone has the same talent. If you want to be good, you have to outwork everybody else. So tell me, do you love basketball? You have to really, really, really love basketball and working hard. Otherwise, you're never going to make it. But he like, it's an extraordinarily good, well delivered speech.
Interesting. Okay. All right.
Along the lines of Al Pacino in
any movie?
Sunday.
Oh, sorry.
In Any Given Sunday. Yeah. Where I remember watching Jamie Foxx give an interview about that, and he said he considered that one of his best scenes because Al Pacino, when he was shouting, was just like spitting everywhere. And Jamie Foxx said, I had to keep a straight face, even though this man is spitting all over me and I'm full of his DNA. He's like, so that's a pretty good acting job by me.
That's hilarious. Also, very funny story. That is such a Jamie Foxx thing to say and do.
Yeah.
So you said which did he say for the boxing movie? Warrior?
No, I never saw Warrior. I saw The Fighter.
Oh, sorry, The Fighter. I always confuse the two. Yeah.
And then there's Jake Gyllenhaal in Southpaw.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I also thought was good, but that was, again, I thought less about boxing and more about redemption, his personal life, and so forth, right?
Yeah, but to be fair, that's so, especially for boxing movies, I think that's, generally speaking, that's kind of the path that they take, right?
Yeah.
In Rocky, it's a little bit about redemption, but not so much. Warrior, it definitely is. I guess in Southpaw it was as well. It's because I think boxers, that's kind of the archetype of the boxer, right?
Yeah. So, this is very good. I think now that we talk about this, we're finding so many good divisions, because another good division, there's kind of the team story, there's the individual story, and then there's also the coaching story, right?
Oh, yeah.
So remember, the Titans could also be kind of a coaching story. Coach Carter, right? Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, for me, Mighty Ducks. With,
Mighty Ducks.
Gordon
Emilio.
Yeah.
With Emilio. You could also say Hoosiers, right? Gene Hackman.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
Yeah. $1 Million Baby is a little bit of both. It's both, Hilary Swank as the boxer, and it's also, what's his name as the coach, Clint Eastwood as the coach, right? And then there's the new one, not so new anymore, with Ben Affleck, right?
The new one with Ben Affleck?
Yeah.
The new what with Ben Affleck? I saw the movie where he comes out of prison or something. Oh no, that's not even Ben Affleck. That was a different actor.
The Way Back.
I don't know if I saw this.
Oh yeah, so The Way Back is the story.
Oh, where he coaches basketball for his high school team?
Yeah, he coaches basketball for his old high school team.
I think after he comes out of jail or something, right?
He was just like in a bad way somehow. And then I didn't think that he was in prison. May well have been, but
I could be confusing it because there was another movie with oh my god, what's his name? Sofia Vergara's husband?
Yes. Yeah, Al Bundy.
No, real life, not Al Bundy.
I have no idea who he is in real life.
No, not even him. I mean, not the. Not that guy. Oh, we've gone a little bit off the rails here. Joe Manganiello.
No idea.
Deadshot in the Justice League movies.
Deadshot?
Not Deadshot. Oh my god. Everything has gone off the rails here. I am so sorry, guys.
We'll catch this in post-production.
If you're all still here, I grossly apologize for my misbehavior. This is, I don't know what it is. Maybe I drank something that I didn't know. Maybe I ate something that's not feeling.
It's sports. You're drunk on sports.
Magic Mike. Joe.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's Sofia Vergara's husband in real life.
I had no idea.
Not Al Bundy.
Television life.
Yeah. So he plays a role where he gets out of jail and ends up playing baseball. And it's very much the same, or a very similar, rather, story to that with Ben Affleck.
Is Karate Kid a sports movie?
Yeah, it's also like a mix of a sports movie and teen coming of age movie. Yeah. Right? This kid from New Jersey gets bullied in California, and he ends up beating them all up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, ostensibly, it's actually, so funnily enough, I've put that under my list of miscellaneous sports movies, which include things like Kingpin for bowling.
Yes. Amazing bowling movie.
Classic.
Maybe the only bowling movie.
The Big Lebowski. Theoretically.
The Big Lebowski has bowling in it, yes. Okay, so category number 1 is bowling. Got it.
Right. And
How
then
about
you have...
hockey? You have a hockey movie?
Yeah, Mighty Ducks.
Oh. What about Mystery Alaska?
Mystery Alaska?
Oh, yeah. Mystery Alaska.
Is this about a town called Mystery, or is there a mystery in Alaska?
It's about a town named Mystery in Alaska. And apparently these guys are amazing hockey players. They're just, I don't know what they do. They work on oil rig or fishing boat or something.
Ice road truckers.
And the NHL says, hey, let's have this exhibition between NHL players and the players in Mystery Alaska. And they do it
tell
on
me they win.
I think they lose, but they make it very, very close. And, at the beginning, the professional hockey players very arrogant, thinking they're just going to, beat them. And then they have a lot of respect for how hard they played and blah, 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 blah. So I would say Mystery Alaska, or if you want to go way back, you could say Slapshot.
Slapshot. My God. Even longer.
That's
old. An old one. Yeah.
So old, but classic. And surprisingly hasn't been remade. Right?
I don't know. I think that's got more to do with ice hockey than it does with anything else.
Yeah. Maybe that would play well in Finland, Sweden, the Nordic countries.
Maybe. And
what about figure skating movies?
Oh, Blades of Glory.
Blades of Glory.
But I mean, that's the only one I can think of, right? I, Tonya, I guess.
Which
is also a biopic.
Yeah.
So that's probably... I never watched I, Tonya because I thought the whole Tonya Harding story was really a travesty. So I think I didn't... as silly as it sounds, I didn't want to support that, right? Because they were glorifying someone who was actually guilty.
Yeah. There's several romances. Ice Princess, Ice Castles. Apparently there's
never heard of
Ice
any
Castle. Yeah, these are love stories. But... there's also The Cutting Edge. Have you ever seen this movie?
No.
1992.
All right. So it's in our sweet spot.
This is in our sweet spot. So this is about a guy who was on the who was it? Some guy named D.B. Sweeney, and the actress is Myra Kelly. Yeah. I feel like she's well known. So the dude was a college ice hockey player. He was in the Olympics, damaged his knee, and he still wanted to skate. So he took up figure skating. They became a couples pair. And of course, first they were, oil and vinegar, and eventually they fell in love and they became a great team. And they went to the Olympics and they competed. And they did this one amazing move, and the movie ended with them just on the ice getting a lot of applause, but you never saw how they finished.
True story or not true story?
Not true story.
Oh, well then, yeah. Then that's fine. Then we'll never know.
We'll never know. Never know.
Here's another one from left field. All right. Also under the miscellaneous category. Dodgeball.
Oh, Dodgeball has its own category. Absolutely. I agree with that.
I'm pretty sure that's the only movie in that category, but in that sport anyway, I loved it. I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was Adam Sandler is not Adam Sandler, sorry, Ben Stiller as a bad guy.
Ben Stiller, yeah.
So funny to watch. Absolutely hilarious to watch.
Basketball. Endless basketball movies, really.
There's so many of them. And there's so many ancillary ones too.
So I think for basketball, you almost have to go, there's the magical, right? Like Air Bud, right? About this dog that could dunk.
Yeah.
There's something about a kid who had like some magic shoes and he could dunk. That there's, Space Jam 2. Obviously, these are, cartoons. But then there's, what else is a more realistic basketball film? Well,
there was that one with Will Ferrell where they have the start of the ABA merging into the NBA, the comedy.
Yeah, yes.
Andre 3000 plays the first player who can dunk.
Yes, you're right. I don't know what this is called, but I totally agree with you. Let's get rid of the Michael Jordan, The Last Dance documentary. That was a documentary. Mm-hmm. But in terms of other movies, there's, as you said, White Men Can't Jump, Above the Rim, Eddie.
Oh my God, Kevin Bacon above the rim.
Eddie with Whoopi Goldberg as a coach. That falls under the coaching category.
Oh my God, that's the one I remember where she has like the Latvian or the Lithuanian player who can't plant his feet to take a charge.
Yep.
I can't believe I remember that scene.
Yep. Love and Basketball, of course.
Of course.
Omar Epps. He Got Game. Denzel Washington.
Excellent
That's a Spike Lee film. Yep.
Excellent movie. I think they used a real basketball player, if I remember correctly, to play his son.
They do. They use Ray Allen.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yep. Blue Chips, Shaquille O'Neal, Nick Nolte, before Nick Nolte got super crazy, right?
Yeah. Although that movie definitely had moments where you could see him transitioning into crazy.
It's kind of like what came first, right? The chicken or the egg.
Yeah.
Do you want to mention Teen Wolf, Michael J. Fox?
Oh my God.
I don't think that's a basketball movie.
Did they make a TV series out of that too?
They may have, but I think it was a more aggressive TV series. I think it took away all the nonsense. Right?
But the nonsense is what made the movie great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to see a furry Michael J. Fox dunk from half court?
Your movie with Will Ferrell is called Semi-Pro.
There you go. Outside of basketball, what other sports do we have? Oh, driving movies. There's got to be a ton of those.
Oh, yes.
Right? Rush. Talladega Nights.
Days of Thunder.
Those
are so...
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Okay. So, Rush, yes. Rush is amazing. That's actually a very serious film about Formula One.
Also a biopic, which I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, which is, generally speaking, I think some of my favorite movies in the genre or in the sports genre tend to be biopics, right? The genre and Rush was altogether more interesting because it was really two biopics in one, right? It was about James Hunt and Niki Lauda, which I thought was excellent.
Yeah, that's true. And who played James Hunt? It was Thor, right?
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth.
Wow, that's
which is hilarious to think of, like a 7 foot tall, huge hulking man sitting inside an F1 car. The logistics of that alone make me laugh, right? I mean, the guy's like 6'5" or whatever he is. He's like 300 pounds of pure muscle.
Look, dude, you gotta lose some weight. This car is not
This
made for this.
car wasn't built for you. It was built for your kid.
I mean, if you think about modern day F1 with the halo, right? The protective halo device. James Hunt may have actually been above the halo. His head may have
would have stuck out.
Yeah. Now F1 drivers cannot be, I think, more than probably like 5'10".
If that. But yeah, anyway, so Rush was good. Days of Thunder, classic.
Yes.
Do you remember the terrible Sylvester Stallone movie?
I do.
Driven?
Yes, I do. Which also had, that was that was a terrible movie for so many reasons, although it's nice to see Sylvester Stallone being an F1 driver. But I thought that there was a scene in there that was maybe even based on the Niki Lauda accident, right? What wasn't Niki Lauda injured when he was at
Nürburgring.
Yeah, he was at Nürburgring, right, in Germany. And it was in the rain, and his car skidded off and flipped, and he was trapped upside down, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, I don't know if it was upside down, but he was basically trapped in a blaze. Yeah.
And I think that Driven borrowed, even though it's a totally fictitious movie, I think it borrowed its accident kind of based on that.
That I'm not sure.
I can't remember who was upside down, if it was Stallone or if it was his counterpart.
The younger guy.
The young kid that he was mentoring. But one of them was trapped upside down. I can't remember who was in that movie. I feel like it was Kip someone Purdue. Famous, though. Who was it?
Yeah, Kip Purdue.
That's right. It says Lee Pace was in this movie as well. Is that even possible? That must be a different movie. Yeah, that's a different Driven.
I was about to say, Lee Pace would have been like 2 years old at that time.
Yeah, right? We're looking at the Driven 2001. That's why they shouldn't be able to allow. It's Burt Reynolds. Yep. Kip Pardue. Yeah, what else is Kip Pardue in?
I'm looking right now, and I don't recognize
Gina Gershon. Gina Gershon.
Oh, well, yeah. Kip Pardue was the Californian kid in Remember the Titans.
Oh, Remember the Titans.
Yeah.
Have you watched Drive to Survive, the documentary about Formula One?
I have not, because in general, I am not a Formula One fan. I actually think it's the worst of the sports. Hot take. Okay. Take.
F1 not sponsoring us either.
Yeah. Sorry. AMG Petronas, I think we're going to have to recall your sponsorship.
Oh, I'm so surprised. Living in London, I would really expect you to have
Yeah, I just never got into it. I don't know what it was. You know what? For me, I like F1 like I like skiing. Which is to say, I'm more interested in the après ski and the parties around F1 than I am about the actual sport.
I can see that.
If you say, Pete, we're going to the slopes, bring your skis, my first response is, I'll see you at the chalet. I'll be there with my pot of fondue and brandy ready to go.
What's in the bag? Fondue.
Yeah, I am 100% not interested in skiing.
Okay. Why don't you give me your favorite ski movie then? Or winter sports movie for that matter.
So, hilariously enough, I was just thinking about this yesterday.
Yes.
You know what I really miss? I miss the 80s and 90s era ski chalet comedies. You know, where you had like a bunch of raunchy teenagers going up on winter break. They have like one group which is like the serious hardcore skiers. The second group that's the serious hardcore party animals. And then they end the movie by having like a ski competition and the winner wins like a trophy or something like that. And then somehow the bumbling group of buffoons that are the drunken ski kids end up winning the whole competition. It's a bit like Animal House on the ski slopes.
I'm with you.
And so my favorite movie of that era, if I remember correctly, is called either Ski School or Ski Patrol.
Oh, yeah. I know both of these. They're both, yeah. What about, I don't know if this counts, but it could, Dumb and Dumber. There is skiing in Dumb and Dumber.
There is skiing in Dumb and Dumber. I don't know if I'd call it that. I think Dumb and Dumber more is a great road trip movie. A good sports comedy for me, that's what I really like. I like that too. You know, first of all, I think that there's a lack of comedies in Hollywood as it is right now.
True.
I can't think of the last mainstream comedy that came out. Mm-hmm. Everything has a shtick except comedy now.
Yep.
So that I miss, but especially that kind of sports chalet or, ski chalet kind of thing. I thought those were always really funny.
I think this is maybe the untapped genre that is not overmade by Hollywood, which is the skate comedy. You're right. Okay, so let me just take inventory of what we've done so far. We've done bowling. We've done hockey. We've done dodgeball, which I guess is under miscellaneous category. We've done basketball, figure skating, racing, both NASCAR and F1. We've done skiing. What about
boxing, golf?
Golf? Golf
We've
kind
done
of hit,
boxing.
right?
Yeah, we've done boxing and fighting. We've done golf.
Yep.
We did baseball to and basketball. What other sports are we missing?
I mean, a lot of American football, and then there's a lot of British football, soccer, right?
There's quite a few. Bend It Like Beckham.
Bend It Like Beckham.
What other sports?
Any others?
Ted Lasso, which is more a TV series than it is a football movie.
Yeah. I mean, part of this is that this is an English-centric podcast. I mean, Europe and the UK and South America are not really known for their film production. When we turn to Bollywood, we see more cricket films, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
But we don't see a whole lot of there's a lot of soccer documentaries, both about Pele, about Messi, about Ronaldo, about some of the great World Cup teams, right? The Hand of God, some of those even about probably the English national team. But you don't see a lot of fiction soccer movies, unless you want to count Rodney Dangerfield and Ladybugs.
Do we want to count that? I don't think so.
I think whether or not you want to count that is dependent on how seriously you take the sport of soccer. Yeah. That some people may consider that a legitimate soccer movie, and some people may consider that blasphemy. So
there was Shaolin Soccer, which I really thought was hysterical, with a great movie out of China. Really funny movie out of China, starring Stephen Chow of Kung Fu Hustle fame.
Kung Fu Hustle. Oh, Kung Fu is a new.
If you haven't seen Kung Fu Hustle, you should watch it. And it came out before Kung Fu Hustle. Then there was Shaolin Soccer before that, and that was also really, really good. I thought that was a really funny movie. You have the British version of The Longest Yard, but instead of American football, they play football.
Yeah.
Mean Machine.
Yes. Oh, you know what, Pete, we're missing? I'll say it right now. I'm saying Sylvester Stallone is giving Kevin Costner a run for his money in terms of the best sports movie actor. Kevin Costner's in a lot of baseball movies and Draft Day, which is football. But we've already said that that Sylvester Stallone is in all the Rockies and the Creeds. We identified he's in Driven, F1. Do you recall he was also in an arm wrestling movie?
What?
Over the Top. Do you remember this movie?
I do not remember this movie. There was an arm wrestling movie?
Not only that, it co-starred Fred Savage and Fred Savage's brother as Nintendo savants.
As Nintendo savants? Is this the movie with the Power Glove?
This is the movie with the Power Glove.
But what did that have to do with arm wrestling?
Sylvester Stallone was a truck driver who made a living arm wrestling.
Oh my God, that is...
I'm summarizing from what I remember. But yes, Over the Top. And their mission was to get the Power Glove savant to this national Nintendo gaming tournament. This was ahead of its time, actually.
That's absolutely hysterical. I mean, I remember the movie because of the Nintendo Power Glove. I don't remember it being called Over the Top.
I think you remember the Power Glove being in like this, like a case that you would think of like would be filled with diamonds. And they opened up the case and there was the Power Glove.
That's right.
And every kid was like, Mom and Dad, I need a Power Glove. Little did they know the Power Glove didn't really work.
Do anything. Yeah, I mean, this is the classic days when you could make a movie, a 90-minute advertisement for a simple product, right? I mean, this is effectively what the Transformers was as well. Yeah. Or the G.I. Joe movies.
Yeah. That is Over the Top was 1987. Sylvester Stallone's, and first of all, there should be a separate category, we'll do this, of great movie names, because Sylvester Stallone's movie name was Lincoln Hawk. Takes his estranged son Mike on a road trip.
Lincoln Hawk sounds like a car that Ford produces.
Yeah.
Welcome to the new 2022 Lincoln Hawk. Now with power steering.
Over the Top. Yeah. So I think Sylvester Stallone giving Kevin Costner a real strong run for his money.
That's funny. But you realize that when you have to reach to arm wrestling movies, or at least movies with prominent arm wrestlers in them, we're getting very close, if not at the bottom of the barrel of sports movies, eh?
So close. So close. What sports haven't we hit here? I think that's almost, I mean, if you talk about, well, we didn't talk about, you know what we missed for hockey is Miracle.
Classic.
That's US centric. Yeah.
Yeah.
Horse racing, Seabiscuit.
But yeah, again, horse racing. I mean, okay. Yeah. Not necessarily in the public cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah. And for rugby, Invictus.
Great movie. That was a good movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Damon's accent was something to behold.
Yeah. Yeah. Morgan Freeman.
Oh. Morgan Freeman is Nelson Mandela.
Yeah. So I think, are we missing any sports?
We probably are. I mean, we haven't talked anything. I'm sure there are movies about the Olympics.
Yeah, that's
there
true.
are definitely movies about cricket.
Oh, kickboxing. Then you get a whole Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Then that entire genre is dominated by Jean-Claude Van Damme, right? What else?
He might be the only person. He may have that genre all to himself, because I don't think that there's anyone else who could get involved in that. No one else could play a kickboxer. I'm surprised there's not like any mixed martial arts movies. Maybe that's the next thing to come out.
Well, no, there was that semi-comedy with Kevin James that was about the MMA or UFC. Where he plays a teacher that ends up fighting on the side to raise money for his school.
I did not see that.
Here Comes the Boom.
Oh, yes. Yes.
So there was that movie. But, that I think MMA and all that falls into and then there was Warrior, which was about MMA as well.
Oh, what's the one about, let's talk about wrestling then. What's the one with Mickey Rourke where he is a wrestler? Was it called The Wrestler?
Yeah, it was called The Wrestler. Great movie. Excellent.
Right? Did he win an Academy Award for that?
I don't know if he won, but
at least he must have been nominated.
In contention. Yeah.
Right?
I'm pretty sure he was in contention if he didn't win. Or I'm pretty sure the movie was in contention as well, because that was a lovely film.
Oh, Pete, I've got two more for you. Two more genres that we forgot about. First, Cool Runnings about the Jamaican bobsled team.
Hilariously enough, I was thinking the Olympics myself,
right?
But yes.
Right? Yeah. That has to be something. You could do sports gambling, Two for the Money. Matthew McConaughey, Al Pacino, Rene Russo. Sports gambling.
I saw that movie.
Oh, yeah. They have I don't remember what happens. There's some double cross.
As there always is.
As there always is. You could do ladies baseball, A League of Their Own, Madonna, Tom Hanks, Gina Davis.
Wow,
Where's Gina Davis?
Wasn't she the president in one of these TV shows, like Madam President or something like that?
Yeah, that's probably right.
Very, very good movie. I remember that. I remember seeing that in the cinemas back in the 90s, right? Early 90s.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very good movie.
And then if you want to take a totally new genre, there's robot boxing with Real Steel.
Real Steel, yeah.
Hugh Jackman, my favorite. Evangeline Lilly. Oh, man. Anthony Mackie was in that. Did you know that?
I don't remember him in that movie. I remember seeing the movie. I just don't remember him in that movie.
Yeah. And then, of course, you've got the biopic Ali. You've got is Foxcatcher with Steve Carell and Channing Tatum.
Super dark movie. Super nice. Super good though. Super good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pool. Color of Money. Tom Cruise, Paul Newman. That's so old. I don't even know if I remember what happened in that. Do you?
I don't think I remember it either. In fact, I know I don't remember it.
Paul Newman was also in something called The Hustler, but that's way before even our time, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Paul Newman, yeah. But anyway, I think, as you can tell, if we're struggling to think of more movies, we've definitely reached the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, we've covered it pretty good though. But I mean, all these movies, for me, if I just had to guess, I don't think this is true, but I would expect almost all of these movies are from 1987 to I'd say all these movies are from the 90s. If I just had to guess, like in my own head, all these movies are from the 90s.
90s and a little bit from the early 2000s.
Yeah. And that, I mean, with some examples, or some exceptions, Rocky, of course, The Natural, Field of Dreams, I think are a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Some of them are a little bit later.
But on average, around the 90s,
yeah.
I'd say.
Like average. that was a sweet spot, for all these.
The golden era of sports movies.
Yeah. Rudy, The Program, if you're looking at college, American football, like all those were made then, but they were all one-time movies, maybe got a lot of fanfare, notoriety, and then they didn't go anywhere, right? That's it. There's no sequel. It's done. But all super well done. But again, as far as I can remember, I think there's two out, I think. One is the Kurt Warner story about the
underdog story. Yeah.
Yep. And the other is there's a movie about, I think it's called The Home Team, about Sean Payton.
Yeah. That's the one I mentioned a few weeks ago.
Yeah, with Kevin James, right?
Kevin James plays Sean Payton. That's right. Yeah.
Oh, we should probably say Rounders then for a gambling movie, for a poker movie. Does that count? Poker sport?
No, I don't think so.
All right.
Okay, let's put it this way. If it is, we're definitely at the bottom of the barrel now.
We've now covered everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And if we haven't, filmsandstuffpodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear if you think we've missed out on some very obvious sports movies.
So, Pete, it's a Saturday afternoon. It's raining in London. Your mobile is out of battery. You've got nothing to do. You've just got a bunch of popcorn sitting around and access to any movie you want. What are you putting on? What are you watching for the next 2 hours of your life?
Out of the sports movies?
Yep.
Oh, man. What am I watching right now? I've got 2 hours to kill and I want to laugh. I'm probably going to be either watching... If I'm in the mood for laughing, I'm watching Happy Gilmore, but otherwise I'm watching Rush.
Oh. I think I would watch Tin Cup. I recall that, I don't remember it so well, but I remember that it had like a good ending, and I thought that Don Johnson played like a very sarcastic guy, and I kind of liked watching him in here. So I'd probably watch Tin Cup again.
I mean, I remember very little about that movie, but I do remember there's one or two scenes that were that stuck out to me.
Yeah. But
I do remember it being a good movie overall, or at least I think it's a good movie overall.
Yeah. I've never seen Foxcatcher though. So if you think Foxcatcher is quite good, maybe I'd probably watch Foxcatcher because I haven't seen it. So I'll change my answer to Foxcatcher.
I would watch it. I would caveat it again by saying it's a slow movie. Yeah. It's a proper drama, and it's also it gets dark, right? So if you don't know anything about the story that it's based on, watch the movie first, and then you can decide if you want to do more digging on the story.
Can I ask you a serious question?
Always.
Is the remake of Baywatch a sports movie?
I thought you were going to ask me a serious question.
That is a serious question.
It is not a serious question. Is Baywatch a sports movie?
The Rock?
They don't even pick up a beach volleyball in it. I assume. I haven't watched it.
You really never watched it?
The movie?
Oh, man.
No.
Yes.
I had no desire to watch Baywatch the movie.
No. The Rock heard you say that, and he's hurt.
Yeah, well, I'm also hurt. Why was he making that movie? When he could have been making other movies that are better.
Zac Efron was in there, and he was an Olympic swimmer.
Okay. Priyanka Chopra in that movie? I think so, right?
I think so. Alexandre Daddario.
There was one actress in there who caused controversy because she was wearing a swimsuit. And I have a sneaking suspicion it was either Priyanka Chopra or another Indian actor.
Oh, you know what? You're 100% right. I'm looking at the cast. Priyanka Chopra was in there as Victoria Leeds. I don't remember her in it. Yeah.
That's how memorable she is. But
yeah.
I remember that the only thing I remember about the movie was that it caused controversy in the conservative circles of the Indian media.
She was wearing a swimsuit.
Well, she's a bodyguard or a lifeguard, right? So like everyone, because when you think of Baywatch, you think of very young, attractive women running in slow motion wearing those red one-piece swimsuits, right?
Yeah, super slow motion.
That's generally speaking, that's the first image that's comes to mind. And I think that's what the Indian media thought as well. And I don't know what she wears in the movie or doesn't wear in the movie. But I assume that's why people were up in arms about her.
I want to find out. Is Priyanka Chopra still married to our Jonas brother?
I believe he is. I believe she is. Yeah.
All right.
I think they just had a kid.
Oh, really? Lovely. Okay. So we've hit all the sports movies. We got it.
Indeed. But again, if we're missing anything, please let us know. We are always listening and we always want to know if we've missed out on something.
Generally, though, I feel like this was a very good overview of sports movies. And again, this started with Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty, which I understand is coming out, it says February, but that can't be correct, on HBO Max. So this is again about Dr. Jerry Buss, right? Who was, he was a medical doctor, but I think he was like I don't want to say dermatologist. I think he was a plastic surgeon. I don't think he was like a heart surgeon. And he bought the Los Angeles Lakers. And in the 80s, the Lakers were everything, right? Magic Johnson, all the other, well-known guys. So this is apparently, I don't know exactly how it is, but this is apparently about it. When you look at it, it says Quincy Isaiah is playing Magic Johnson. Someone is playing Paula Abdul. Someone is playing Jack Nicholson. Wow.
Is Paula Abdul not playing Paula Abdul?
No. Karina Conti is playing Paula Abdul.
What a travesty. I love Paula Abdul.
It kind of makes sense because,
Oh, right, because it's going to be in the past. Duh. That makes sense. Fair enough, fair enough.
But it also raises that question, which maybe you and I need. Oh, Adrian Brody is playing Pat Riley.
Wait, who's playing Larry Bird?
Oh, I will tell you. It is someone called Sean Patrick Small.
Because ultimately it's going to come down to whoever's playing Larry Bird versus whoever's playing Magic Johnson, right?
Yeah, that's true. It says someone named Sean Patrick Small who, given his IMDb photo, kind of has the bright hair and face. Who else is in it? So those are, like Michael Chiklis playing Red Auerbach.
Interesting.
Yeah, but those are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is someone named Solomon Hughes. I'm really excited to see Paul Abdul here.
All right, well, I look forward to seeing that.
Yep. So the next thing we would need to do, Pete, one day, not today, is just like Paula Abdul had someone play her, we also need to identify who will play us one day.
Yeah, obviously Nicolas Cage is playing me.
Oh,
Obviously.
yeah.
I mean, you have to ask.
That's your dream come true on like 3 different levels, right? A movie made about you, Nicolas Cage in the movie, and Nicolas Cage being you. That's somehow your 3-level dream, right?
That is my Inception dream.
You couldn't die happier knowing that there was a movie made about you with Nick Cage playing you. You're like, that's it.
And if I were to die, I'd want him to read the eulogy.
Announcing himself playing you. That would be awkward.
Oh my God. How crazy.
I hereby leave to Nicolas Cage, pregnant pause, the right to play me in a movie about me. And then I just feel like he'd like furrow his brow a little bit, confused by what that means. Oh, I guess I got a new role.
And by reading this eulogy out loud, I agree to make this role no take back.
Yes, this hereby constitutes a binding agreement.
Wait a minute, I don't agree. Too late, buddy.
Second. Did I just read that out loud? Yeah. Okay. Everyone be careful if you read Pete's will out loud. You never know what's going to happen. Okay, so let's look out for this. And we've covered sports movies. Next time, what do we have coming up? Or is there not something coming up?
Nothing planned, actually. Let's figure it out, and we'll touch base offline and see what we need to cover for next week.
I think what we need to do is we need to have a Tom Cruise episode, because Top Gun eventually is coming out.
As is
and Mission Impossible is eventually coming out. So I think we should have a Tom Cruise / Miles Teller breakdown day and get us in the mood for these 2 films being released.
Yeah.
And you know what?
A preview.
Next week, actually, The Batman is coming out this week. So next episode will be The Batman. You forgot.
Right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
That may be, depending upon it, maybe a 2-episode type of movie.
Perhaps. So indeed, in fact, I take that back. We are definitely going to be talking about Batman next week.
The Batman, I
apologize.
Okay, listeners, thank you for tuning in and listening to us. Pete,
thank you,
pleasure.
Everyone.
Thank you as always.
Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.